So it's Sunday, I'm bored, and I thought I'd go ahead and make the first music video that I was going to make to sort of help people improve. So with this being the first video, if you're going to watch them with the sort of hope of learning a few things, I'm merely going to show you the door and you're either going to walk through it or you're not. But I do expect you to know the basics, such as smoke on the water. Seven Nation Army. And you should be able to play Fast Car to kind of an acceptable level. We're also going to be using some software called FL Studio. I will leave a link in the comments for the website so you can go and get it. So now that you have all of those things, I'll give you a little sample of what you can learn. So when you first load up FL Studio, this is what you're going to be greeted with, and it's going to look quite daunting, but don't worry, that's where I come into it. The most important buttons that you're going to want to familiarise yourself with as soon as possible in this software is the View Playlist button at the top, don't worry, I'll zoom in for you, and the Channel Rack button as well. If everything goes wrong and everything gets cleared off your screen, don't panic. Just remember, click your View Playlist and click your Channel Rack. So now you're asking, okay smart ass, what's a channel rack and what's the playlist? Well, the channel rack, which is this third button, this is where we construct things. This is how you should look at it. So this is where we make something, and then on the playlist is where we present it, okay? You don't really need to worry too much about that because we're just going to be getting a beat up and running for you. So if you want to make that beat that was in the clip that you've seen, first of all, we need to go to the top left here. You see these numbers? Mine is set to 130. This is the beats per minute for the track. But for the sake of, if you want to copy this video as much as you letter by letter, you want to be setting this tempo to 130. Do that now. Make sure it's at 130 now. Now, I want to bring up your channel rack, which is the button. It's the construction place I told you about. Bring up the construction menu. Do that now. We'll open up your channel rack. Yours is not going to look exactly like mine to begin with, but it will do. But I've got two extra instruments, if you will. So on the left hand side here, let me just make sure my camera's not covering up. Nope. You want to go to packs here. You see packs? You want to click this. Now in the event, for whatever reason, you've been clicking around all sorts of random stuff, and let's say your left hand side menu doesn't look like this, Just close everything down, take a deep breath, and just look for packs. It's there. Trust me, it's there. So we click packs. Now this is where we're going to pick our instruments and different sounds. So now that you have packs open, the first thing that I want you to do is to find where it says instruments. From instruments we're going to click the bass menu, and then from the bass menu we're going to highlight the Ibanez. You're going to click, hold it, and drag it onto your construction bit here, this channel rack. I'm not going to drop it on here because I've already got one, but all you're going to do is click and drag it and just drop it in. So now that we have the Ibanez on the channel rack, you're going to right click and we're going to go to piano roll. Now don't panic, because this is a new menu and you're like, oh my god, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get back to the other menu. Well, I told you at the beginning, familiarize yourself with these little buttons at the top. Your playlist, your channel rack. If you ever get lost or you want to go back, just click these and you'll be fine. In between those two buttons that you've already familiarized yourself with is the piano roll section. So now we can go in and put a bass line down. It's very simple. So on the left hand side, as you sort of scale down the piano keys, you'll notice in the top left here, don't worry, I'll zoom in for you so you can see, but as you're cycling down the keys it will show you what note it is. Yeah? So if you have like musical tabs for songs and you already know the chords, this is how you're going to translate into the software. So when you first come into the piano roll menu, this is what it's going to look like. It's going to look blank. We're able to use the keyboard to sort of get a feel for the notes and see what you think sounds good. So for the sake of this video, we want an E4, which is located just here. So once you click it, the bar may come out the same length, or it may be shorter than mine. But use this line that is running down the sort of first part, use that as a reference, and we're going to slide it all the way, but not completely halfway, just one tile before. So that one note on its own is what you should hear as we're going through this. Okay, now we're going to add a second one in. So you hear that? So now we're playing two notes in the same space. The rest is really simple. We're just going to take this same pattern and we're going to add in 3 more chords. We're going to add a G, which is located just above it. So we clicked G there, and again just past the halfway point. This is what we're sounding like now. So the next note that we want is a D chord, which is located here. Here's another good tip for you. If you are actually trying to find a note and you're not familiar with where they are on the actual keyboard, anything that you've pasted, you'll notice if you click it and drag it up, it will show you the chord. I don't know if you can notice that, but we want to put it on a D4, which is here. So we want 2 of them. So this is what it sounds like now. We just need that final section, which is a C note, it's just here. It's there. Put 2 of those little bad boys down. Hit the spacebar button to play what you're doing. So if the tempo is set to 130 beats per minute, you have copied these sort of notes exactly. This is the beat that we have. We should have the same beat. Okay, we got the bass line. Now all we need to do is add the drums. Super simple. Super simple. Stay with me. So now we're going to add the drum section in. So when you click your channel rack, it's going to look really short like this the first time that you open it. But with those bass notes that we've added, what we need to do is we need to stretch this out so we can see the full sequence. We notice that everything in this grey area is not what we need, so we can just close that to there. So this is what we're working with. So the first thing that we're going to do is on the tab that it says hat, it doesn't say hat for me because I've already changed a few things, but it will say hat for you. Right click and go to fill each 2 steps. Click that. And this is what it will sound like with the bass when you push spacebar on the channel rack. Your sound will be a little bit different to that, so we'll just make sure that we're on the same page. So on the left hand side of the screen, go back to where it says packs. You've probably already got this menu open, and because we've just done the bass, it's probably got the bass menu open. Close that bass menu option, and above it, it will say drums. You want to click this drums. So down here we get a selection of different sort of sounding equipment. You want to click hats, whatever, and we want to find the, what am I using? I'm using an 808. So to make it sound exactly the same, when on the hats option, go to 808 CH, click, drag, and on the hat section that you've done on your channel rack where we've put all this sort of fill point, just click and drag it on top of it. When you push spacebar now to play the sequence, you'll notice that the hat sounds different. It should sound exactly the same as mine. It does. If it doesn't, maybe you find another hat that sounds, more to your taste. So have a little play around. If you click one, you are able to get like a preview of the sound. So, again, don't just take my word, as gospel. Explore a little bit. Find out what you like to, find out what you think sounds good. To save a little bit more time, go to the snare section, and for my snare I'm using an 808 snare, which is it's not far from when you open the menu. Click, drag that onto where it says snare. For the kick pedal that I'm using, open up the kick menu, and I'm using an FPC 1 kick, which is this one. I think it's quite impactful. Does the job. It's just a standard kick bass. So click and drag that onto where it says kick. So we need to make a few alterations, just we need to make the beat come alive. So what I did on the sample of the video that you watched is I put like a little sort of trill bit at the end here. So we're just going to press play now and see what it sounds like. So I don't really know much about drum beats at all, I just know how to make really basic ones. So for the kick pedal, we're going to have the first bar clipped because we want the pedal to come in straight away with the beat, and then you'll notice these red sections. The first grey tile after this after the second red section, you're going to put another kick pedal there. The same part with this, so we're going to skip 2 red parts, first grey one. Skip 2 grey parts, first grey one, and we're going to leave it at that. We're not going to add an extra kick pedal here. Maybe you want to, but as it stands, with the order that we've done it in, when we push play on spacebar, it's going to loop. It's going to loop back into itself. So you notice that kick pedal is constant, even though the song ends. When it gets to the end here, it just loops back around, so you're able to use this to your advantage. This is where you'd have something basic and you'd plug your guitar in and just start practicing those open E scales over it. That's pretty much all I do. But the drum is missing something, it's missing that snare. So where we're going to put the snare is, we're just going to put it where it feels kind of right to do it. So we've got the kick, bang, it should be there. I know it should be there. Do you know why I know it should be there? Because when I'm listening to that drum beat and I'm like, there should be a snare there, well, that's where it should be. So let's add a few more snares in. So I think it's this pattern. And there we go. If you've watched this video with the intention of making that beat and sort of soloing over it, you should be very close to getting it sounding like this. Remember the 130 beats per minute. Right, now I'm going to show you something extra. So from the pack section, you're going to close all the menus down because we want to look for instruments. Go to instruments, go down to keyboard, and click and drag on the stage piano and drag it into your channel rack. Once you've clicked and dragged that stage piano in, mine and yours channel racks should look exactly the same. But here's where the fun part comes in. So if you right click on the stage piano and go to piano roll, you would have already seen this with the bass line. Hit spacebar. Okay, and now you're thinking, okay Mas, now what? Well, because you got a piano sound, you can oh, I hit a bum note, but I don't play piano, I don't play keyboard, but having this sort of feature, you know, kind of, you know, it lets me sort of recreate that sound. You know, if you spend enough time, you know, you can put some notes in here and, you know, mess around getting the keyboard section, but I even though I know how to do it, it would take another video to show you how to utilize the keyboard section. This was just to make a sort of backing track and an introduction to this software. But enjoy. And if you're wondering where I got the idea for the backing track, this is the track I got it from. I'm not going to play it all because it'll probably get copy striked. But see you next time.